The city had gone to sleep, but Maya hadn't. She stood by her bedroom window, watching the street lamps flicker below and the moon hang silently above the skyline. Something inside her felt incomplete, like a song left unfinished. The air outside was cool and inviting, so she slipped into a soft sweater, tied her hair loosely, and stepped out into the night. Not to escape, but to feel something again. She found herself walking toward the little cafe by the lake, the one that stayed open late. It was empty, except for one figure, Liam. The boy with the quiet smile and eyes that remembered everything. They hadn't spoken in months. But tonight, fate had placed them in the same silence again. He looked up as she entered and smiled, gently, like he'd been waiting for her all this time. "Couldn't sleep either?" he asked. Maya sat down across from him. "No," she whispered. "Too many memories in my bed." He chuckled softly. "Same here." The cafe was warm, the lights dim. The air smelled like cinnamon and quiet things. Liam ordered 2 chamomile teas, just like he used to. They didn't talk about what had gone wrong. They just existed together for a while. "Do you remember that night," Maya said, "when we danced in the rain outside this place?" Liam smiled. "And we got soaked? Yeah, you called it the best mistake ever." "It still is," she said quietly. Their hands brushed on the table, briefly, but enough to send shivers down her spine. They left the cafe and wandered toward the lake. The moon was so bright it painted silver trails on the water. Neither of them spoke for a while, until Maya finally asked, "Do you still think about us?" "All the time," Liam said, "but I didn't know if you still believed in us." She looked at him, her voice soft. "I never stopped believing. I just stopped hoping." He turned toward her slowly. "What if tonight is our second chance?" They sat on the bench where they'd once made wishes, where they'd talked about forever. Maya leaned her head on his shoulder. His arm slid around her, like it never forgot where it belonged. The breeze played gently with her hair. The stars listened. And then he kissed her. Softly, slowly, with the kind of patience only true love learns. There was no rush, no desperation, just warmth and home. They lay back on the bench, watching the stars. "Do you remember what you told me that night?" Maya whispered. Liam turned to her. "Which one?" "That if I ever got lost, you find me, no matter how far." He nodded, and I did. Their fingers intertwined. There were no promises, no big declarations, just whispers beneath the moonlight. 2 souls finally at peace. They walked back slowly. No need to hurry, no need to speak. At her door, she turned to him. "Come in?" He smiled gently. "I thought you'd never ask." Inside, they moved like music, quietly, tenderly, not for passion, but for connection. They held each other until the morning light crept in. Sleep finally came, but so did peace. The room was bathed in shadows, lit only by the gentle light of the moon slipping through the window. Maya sat quietly beside Liam on the bed. No words, no rush, just heartbeats, moving in the same rhythm. Liam looked at her, his voice barely a whisper. "Do you know, when you're near, the world stops moving?" She smiled softly, lowering her gaze. He leaned in closer, letting his fingers trace the curve of her neck, slowly, like she was a melody meant to be felt, not heard. Maya closed her eyes. The moonlight touched her face like silk, and Liam's breath warmed her skin. They weren't rushing, they weren't lost. They were home. Two bodies, two hearts. One quiet, burning connection. No lines were crossed, but the space between them was filled with longing, warmth, and something eternal. The night didn't need noise, their closeness was its own language. And finally, Maya rested her head on Liam's chest, wrapped in his arms, her lips carrying the softest smile. This was the moment where love and sleep became one.